Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit that subscribe button down below. Let's get right to it. You remember that officer, Amber Guyger, who murdered Botham Jean in his own apartment, claiming that she was in the wrong one? And I got all sorts of attacks for my videos I made of that story. I faced all sorts of attacks saying that, oh, the Dallas PD did this. The Dallas PD's trying to not let it happen, not go to trial. Well, guess what? Once again, I was right. You give Dallas County enough time, they will get it right, and they did. Now it goes to a jury. Amber Guyger was indicted, not on manslaughter charges, but apparently on murder charges, and we will go from there. I do hope that the jury is given the option of manslaughter, because no matter what, this woman deserves time in prison. The reason they were focusing on manslaughter is it's easier to prove than murder. If you go with murder and that's the only charge you charge the person with, you don't have much choice. If they're not convicted of murder, then they go scot-free. And they may not have enough evidence to convict her of murder. You or I may think by what we have seen that she is guilty of murder. Maybe she is. I believe she is. But we have to wait for a jury to decide what that's going to be. But sometimes it's a matter of what they can prove more than what the person actually did. And it's a sad state of affairs, but it's how things work. But she was indicted on murder charges. She will stand trial for the murder of Botham Jean. Finally, maybe his family will be able to get some peace and some closure. There is no reason this should have ever happened. That woman should have never been in his apartment. And her story just doesn't hold water. There are witnesses that say that what she's claiming just didn't happen. She's claiming she walked into the apartment, saw the guy, and thought she was in her own apartment, so she shot him. But witnesses say that she was making noises and yelling at the guy through the door. She'd had a history of problems with him playing music when she'd come back from late shifts. And because of her attitude and her lack of ability to control herself, a man lay dead. I truly do not buy her story that she walked into her apartment and found a guy, or that she thought she walked into her apartment. I don't buy that. That's the biggest bullshit lie I've heard in a long time from anybody that's accused of a crime. I mean, it's terrible to sit there and think that you can get away with that by showing up and saying, oh, I thought I was in the wrong place. I was stressed out, long day at work. Well, I've never heard of anybody doing that, having a long day at work, going home and murdering the wrong person, entering the wrong apartment. I mean, she parked her car on her floor. She walked to her apartment on her floor. And then happens to go to the other floor. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But like I said, Amber Guyger indicted on murder charges. I think this is a great update to get out there. And I think it's a really good thing that she was indicted. Hopefully her trial will end in a guilty verdict, because it's obvious that she did this. She was there. She admitted that she shot the guy. And hopefully a jury will see it the same way. Because nobody should be shot dead in their own apartment for no reason. And I will say that smear campaign, though, that DPD tried to put out by trying to attack him for having marijuana in his apartment, that shouldn't even have been a discussion. That shouldn't even have been released to the public. If he had marijuana in his apartment, it had nothing to do with it. She didn't go there because he had marijuana. But anyhow, this has been the Big Ranch Show. I've been your host, Jacob Keck. I'll see you down the road.